Never stop learning, never stop talking to customers. People are people. My best business relationships that I've built, we've had over like a beer at 8 o'clock at night, right? Just over dinner or cocktail. I know we're very connected today, right? I'm home here in Chicago here, and I don't know where you are today, but there's nothing like having a face-to-face chat.
Welcome back to another installment of the Next Gen AI Case Studies series. In this episode, we have on Carlos Carrillo Jr. He is a business leader with extensive experience in technology and SaaS. He's currently affiliated with Link Labs, and that's a company that specializes in IoT and asset tracking solutions. His background includes a focus on sales, growth, and revenue generation, making him knowledgeable in leveraging technology for business expansion. Carlos, welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited to get into this. I don't know a whole lot about IoT, so I'm going to be asking some very rookie questions about this whole thing.
Yeah.
But before we dive into the whole conversation, I'd love to get a bit of a background, Carlos, on how you ended up in the position that you are with Link Labs.
Yeah, so for me, I've been in the transportation world for going on 15, 16 years here. Started with a company called Fleetmatics. So doing, vision systems, vehicle tracking, things of that nature. And then it's kind of blossomed into, what it is today in the IoT space. So I've been involved in probably every part of like a semi-truck and trailer. So the front of the vehicles to, collision mitigation systems, underneath the trailer for aerodynamics, both, underneath the trailers, those goofy little plastic pieces you see. It's for improving aerodynamics, and then, all the components and software and data analytics. It's this big computer basically inside of a semi truck, and all the data that we pull from it, I can show people how to get the most out of it, or, tie it all together. Or if there's things that are typically hard to understand where data is, or if we can put a little connected sensor on something to get a client the data they want for better utilization, we can do that. So that's kind of what led me to this IoT space of, telematics does a really good job in cab. We do a really good job where there's no power. So when a trailer's disconnected on an asset, on a pallet, where's my stuff? Here's my stuff. Here's how I connect it. And then we kind of show them how to do it seamlessly. And then when it's being delivered, I can show you with a tiny little, Bluetooth beacon exactly where your asset is on a floor plan. So from indoor to outdoor, I can give you 30 centimeters of location accuracy of where is my little Bluetooth beacon, right? So pretty
30
cool.
centimeters.
30 centimeters. Yep.
Wow, that is impressive.
Yeah. So we can track anything today, and give people that like high level visibility.
Just for my understanding, how long have you been in the industry?
So IoT space, it's going on 2 years now. But it's so weird, right? Because with telematics, we do a little bit of IoT, right? So we've done some, temperature sensor, information, or hey, how long is my trailer door open, right? It's all the tiny little connected sensors, and how we like see it, right? So it's the platform, it's the system, the backend UI, all the apps that are associated with what we do. But in this software space, about 16 years, right? So in
Okay.
some form or fashion, whether it's braking components, right? I felt like Tommy Boy for a while, selling braking systems and, showing people a better way and a safer way to, stop a 80,000 pound truck, right? So
Well, I've been in front of those 80,000 pound
yeah,
trucks a few times in some sketchy situations. So, on behalf of everyone in those
yeah,
situations, thank you
yeah,
for the work you do, Carlos.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we,
Um,
we we sell safety, right? So safety and connectivity, today in the IoT space.
you've been around, I guess, long enough then to have experienced some significant shifts in the technology and implementation and the whole industry. Um,
Yep.
what are some notable moments where you knew things were shifting, either for the better or the worse?
Well, so there was a couple big things that I've seen in my career, right? So I think it was 2017. There was a change for all of the like truck drivers to have like an electronic logging device in their vehicle. So, ELD was mandated in the US to start. I want to say it was 2017, 2018, if I remember correctly. So basically they had to have some sort of computer in their truck, right? So tracking all their hours, doing it on a tablet, doing it on some sort of device that was connected to the vehicle. Basically getting rid of paper, right? No paper logs. How do we track it? All of it's mandated and regulated. And then when they did all that a couple years later, the 3G sunset hit. So all of those devices that they just installed, now they have to get new devices. So it went from, paper logs to now a 4G connected environment. And what it's done for us is yes, it's hard on the driver because now he's got to learn a whole new system and a whole new platform, but it's just better for us as a nation, right? To make sure that these guys are safe. They have hard jobs. They're in the field 24/7, busting their butts. I think about the long road trips that I take and, me falling asleep, right? They have technology in there that if they blink too many times within a certain period of time, it's going to tell them to go take a break, like get off the road, like go take your break, like get off the road, like let's make sure you're safe. But it's all about getting drivers home safely, right? From delivering all of our Amazon packages or our goods or our food, and making sure that in that entire process, not only are they safe, but the cargo's safe. So there's a lot of things that we can do to kind of help alleviate a lot of that.
Yeah, shout out the truckers because they are quite literally what I feel like the backbone of this society and one of the only groups that were willing to go to war against the government itself. So
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
I think they
yeah,
they're deserved some kudos and flowers while they're still here. But
yeah. During COVID, they were the only ones keeping us, afloat, right? They're working when all of us were panicking and trying to get toilet paper and food, and they never stopped. They saw an increase. They were still doing what they needed to do during COVID. So it's hats off to them.
yeah, absolutely. I can't imagine though that this group of people is very receptive to this level of change this quickly in terms of going from a very traditional pen and paper on a pad to
Yeah.
being digitally tracked everywhere you go. What has your experience been like bringing this technology to those businesses?
So, we have to portray it in a different way. And I always like to lead by just telling stories of, what could happen, right? And, you think about connectivity today and, I got all these screens in front of me today for my day job. And, these guys have a camera on them 24/7, right? There's usually a forward facing camera or forward facing and an inward camera in all of their vehicles. So if we really think about it, it's like, how would you feel if you had a camera on you 24/7?
Right.
You're just trying to do your job. You're trying to make sure you do it safely. So what we sell is we just sell the benefits. Like, look, we blur out, we don't have any kind of, we don't care about what you do. We just want to make sure that when you're driving, you don't have a cell phone in front of your face and you're looking away from the road for longer than 30 seconds, right? Because it's that quick that an accident can happen. So we try to pitch it in a different manner, and just tell them that it's good. If you're completely against the indoor camera facing inward, just turn it off, right? There's technologies that offer options to turn it off. But essentially it's to reduce claims and it's to make sure that they're safe. And in an event where there is an accident or someone has been injured, those are meant to reduce the risk so that you can keep your job, so that the premiums and the insurance rates don't go through the roof because of an accident. Those are big billboards that people target sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So they're at risk with some things. So it's a safety measure.
So, okay, just so I think that we're on the same page here. Who
Yeah.
is the primary group that you're serving? Like, is it the trucking company itself that you're selling this idea to, or are you doing
Yes.
this with independent drivers or?
Yeah, mainly it's big trucking companies that we work with for telematics. The owner operators, sometimes they have like individual plans, but for me and what I've done in my career has been all kind of like national account type work with bigger fleets, both on the cold chain side of the world for food, and then in cab for drivers. in this IoT space now, I don't even do anything with that. It's more I care about the individual packages, so we can get to that granular level of tracking with just different connected technologies.
So in terms of strategy, then bringing this to that group of people, I guess
Yeah.
I can't imagine there are too many players in the game. Is this like a state by state thing? Are there bigger companies that kind of go nationwide? Like who
Yeah.
you
So
working?
for us, when I started with Link Labs, a big thing was how do we compete with the telematics space, right? It's like these guys are killing it today with the drivers. They have all the connected technology. So for us, we really wanted to kind of set ourselves apart and really work with telematics providers. So there's a big company called Geotab that we just launched a partnership with. They have 4 million subscribers on their network, on their telematics solution. So it's a really big partnership for us, and we work with their resellers. So basically, you go into Geotab and you can add any of the Link Lab solution onto their platform. So we're connected, we're integrated. You don't even know, it's kind of a single sign-on type thing where we give them one pane of glass for all of their connected assets, their cameras, their tracking, their collision mitigation systems. Like everything is built into one platform. So we try to make it as easy as possible to get our tech. And now we're expanding into other brands as well. So
So
there's a ton of brands. There's like 30 or 40 companies, right? So there's a lot. We work with the biggest so far, and then we're going to branch out to some of the other guys that are doing some great work in this space.
and it sounds to me like the angle here is strategic partnerships with the right
Yes,
people.
exactly. Yeah.
That's
So,
brilliant.
on the indoor side of our world, we have some crazy partnerships, right? So we are partnered with AT&T. Their hospitality, their indoor tracking hospitality system is ours. They use our platform, and we're in every IHG, Marriott, Hilton. We're in all the major hospitality brands. We were doing really, really well before COVID, but the first thing that stopped was technology spending in hotel during COVID. So we took a hit there. So we had to rebrand ourselves. And that's where, we've done a lot of work around, okay, how do we rebuild? How do we rebrand? And we made a focus in logistics and manufacturing. So we've really taken off in this space.
That is very impressive that you guys had the wherewithal to be able to pivot while still maintaining trajectory. That's something that a lot of businesses struggle with. What fueled that decision?
Yeah. Well, our CEO really just did a deep dive on all of our opportunities. Like where are we really doing well? Where should we focus? And he got me aboard, and I found a counterpart, and we've really just focused in on the logistics and manufacturing side of our business. So working with fleet specifically, working with shippers, working with heavy equipment manufacturers. I've got a really cool opportunity that I've worked on this year with a crane manufacturer, but or it's a crane rental company, and they want it. So if you think about a crane, it's like a large roller coaster, right?
Right.
That you have to assemble and disassemble. And at the end of it, their biggest thing is where are all the little pieces? So a crane can have up to 200 components. How do I track all that at a reasonable price? So what
Mm.
we've done is we've built this connected mesh network of assets so that when they go to resell it, it's like a brand new crane. They get every single piece that came with it, and then we can track and show you exactly where this little Bluetooth device has traveled.
Wow,
So
that's
for them,
impressive.
the data is it's super critical. And then when we scale this thing, we've made it really, really simple for them to deploy because they have 100,000 assets that they're tracking.
So are your customers kind of a one and done scenario, or is it like a long-term partnership where you guys are working and nurturing over, a longer period of time?
Yeah, usually it depends on what level the customer wants to compete or be a part of our platform. So usually it's either month to month or 36-month agreements. It all depends on what level that they need and what discount they're looking for. So it's all based off of discount volumes. On the transportation side of the world, we have more of like a month-to-month structure because those guys are paid monthly. So we're very flexible with that. For if I have to get in your building, and install, gateways, location beacons, access points, daisy chaining our technology on your ceiling, that's more of a long-term commitment. So those are typically 36-month agreements because of us physically installing, equipment on the ceiling. So it's a little bit different of a sales cycle. But when we're in, and we've got them for a long time. We're very sticky.
One of my mentors, Taylor Welch, said that if it takes you less than 6 months to sell somebody on something, and
Yeah.
whatever you're selling is a fad or a trend. And I
Yeah.
thought that was such an interesting take on the whole thing. And hearing what you're saying, this feels like it's more of like a deeply embedded part of somebody's business is understanding and gathering this data.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's if I can improve utilization from anywhere from 3 to 5%, our system will pay for itself, right? If I can if I can get more products out the door, improving the work in process, right? We're very hard to get rid of, right? It's because you want to build a system that the clients just can't live without, and show them the data in a way where they can make easy business decisions. And we've really honed in on just trying to be just really easy to do business with, because there's so many systems out there that are super complex, convoluted. You said a fad earlier, and that's true, right? So, you've got your peaks and your valleys, right? I want to be here, right? I want to have a steady increase month over month. And that's what we've really honed in on, trying to build. So it's fun. It's fun to see.
So Carlos, let's have some more fun.
Sure.
What are some of the more creative approaches that you've used to kind of acquire a customer, to get yourself out there, to be known by them, to
Yeah.
to start that relationship? What are some of the creative ways that you guys have gone about that?
So customers are customers, right? They're so funny. It's, I can't tell you how many times a customer will say, "Oh, well, I can go get an Apple AirTag and it's like $100." And I'm like, "Perfect, go buy it." Right? It's you try to be as friendly as you can about it, but they don't know what they don't know, right? So you kind of just give examples. I like I said, I'm a big storyteller when it comes to working with clients.
Mhm.
But man, there's just sometimes where you have to put your foot on the brake, right? Or on the gas. So I was working with here's a cool example. I was working with a car dealership, and I car dealershipped the car dealership. And I'm just like, look, we have, I was like, it was almost a year to this date, like at the end of July of last year. And she really wanted our technology. She's like, the pricing is a little more than what we were expecting. And I'm like, well, where do we need to be for the ROI to make sense? And I said, and if we can agree on terms right now, can I get a PO from you in 2 days? And, literally pulled the whole car dealership thing. If we can agree on a price, can we do our deal like right now? Like, I don't want to wait. Why am I going to wait 6 months for you to come back with, an opportunity? I'm like, how do we do this today? And she's like, all right, let me call you back. So she got on the phone with her CEO, got it approved, and that was probably our fastest sale that we've had, right? Because usually the sales cycles are a little bit longer. But I'm like, man, how do we do this quicker? So I took that opportunity to just get a little creative with it. I got some approval from leadership, and boom, we shipped it in less than a week. So
Wow.
it was a really cool win. And now we're tracking all their inventory, because
And that's
vehicle
still
theft,
an ongoing relationship?
yeah, vehicle theft is at an all-time high. We've saved 4 vehicles from being stolen,
Yeah,
right? So
not that that's a joke, but like,
no,
yeah,
it's
I guess.
serious. Like it's vehicles are. It's so crazy to me that people are stealing vehicles, right? But it's happening. They're selling them overseas. They're stripping parts. So for them, it's also an inventory thing. It's like they don't want to have too many of one brand, at all of their different sites. So they're like, hey, we got 50 Toyotas here. We've got 40 over here, right? We want to spread them out a little bit, because they're like a wholesale car dealership. So every use case is so different.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got opportunity with drones. It's one of the most unique opportunities. They're trying to build like this, next generation. They want to use our tags with drones
Hmm.
so that they can show live vehicle thefts on TV.
What?
So yeah, we're working.
Yeah.
So it's not set in stone yet, but we're trying to prove out the use case a little bit with them.
Yeah.
But we get a lot of requests, right? Because IoT is so, it's like, how do I track a wheelchair?
Mm,
Well, do you want to put a connected device in it, or can I put, a gateway at an entrance or an exit to give you more visibility? It's all about like ROI and if the money makes sense, and making sure that they can justify, right, the tracking of whatever asset they're looking to track.
yeah. Carlos, are you brave enough to share some things that you've tried that didn't work out quite as well as you'd hoped?
Um, so let's think about this. So yes, so there's a lot of we get a lot of opportunities for like indoor tracking or indoor outdoor tracking. And what's hard is that, right? It's, there's a big car manufacturer that I was working with that wanted to track, 20,000 engine racks, just, crazy. So in that sense, I mean, those things were only anywhere from 300 to 500 bucks, right? So for them to put a connected GPS device on it that works inside and outside, yeah, I knew the numbers were going to have to get really, really like hairy or creative. And the customer's like, oh, I want to do this for $2 a device. And I'm like, that's not going to happen. I'm like, I can't even connect any kind of, signal on that device, not alone hardware, for that kind of price. I'm like, but where can we go? And, I made this crazy big time investment of a presentation and a proposal and try to get like extremely creative with it. And it just didn't work. It just the number, like if the numbers don't make sense and the ROI don't make sense,
Mhm.
as much as I am usually like an aggressive and a passionate technology leader, you have to take a step back sometimes and just say, look, this is not the best fit for you. And then I try to make other recommendations instead of, fitting a round peg in a square hole, right? We want to be trusted advisors, and there's too many companies out there that just they either bash their competition or they don't understand it enough. And I've always tried to just take a different approach with it, right? Like I want them to be my customer for 10 years instead of getting a sale for 12 months, right? That's where we want to play.
So imagine, given the amount of time that you've been around, you guys have a pretty substantial, I guess, customer base, enough so that I'm sure that to some degree managing those
Yeah.
relationships becomes a bit of a challenge. Has that been your experience?
Um, we are still small and nimble, so we can still react to our client base pretty well. We have a really good system for managing that. We are working on customer success, so that's coming. We do need more help on the customer success side of our world. Absolutely. Like once we agree to terms, once implementation is up, I think that's the next step of our kind of story, right? When we work with clients, right? We want to make sure that they're successful on the platform, right? It's, yes, we come to terms. Yes, they want to do this, and then what, right? They're like a deer in the headlights.
Right.
So the next piece is definitely customer success. And then for account management, we have really good account managers. So we've got um, you know we've got the ear of the client pretty well. And then we're making a lot of improvements with some of our partners to kind of help us get to that next level, like 24/7 visibility. So that's hopefully going to be coming, in the next 12 months or so. So that's our goal.
Yeah, growing pains, as it were.
Exit. We're there. We're literally right. We're at that growing pain mark today.
Yeah.
Uh, where we're like, all right, we're very close. We've got a lot of revenue. We're doing well. And we've got a lot of things that need some more support. Absolutely.
How do you
So
go about making those bigger decisions? I'm sure that there's a lot to consider. Small enough to be nimble, but big enough that we gotta do something about this. So, like,
yes,
yeah, how do you
yes.
navigate that?
So so on my logistics side of the world. So for logistics and manufacturing, we've got a lot of experience in this space. So me and my counterpart, I mean, together, it's like 35 years of experience, right?
Mm.
He was a industry vet with a big tolling company for years, right? Building the next generation tolling product. So for us, we've got a really good handle. So we make a lot of recommendations to leadership, to the board, and if there's things that we need to change or improve, right? We've got a path forward or a plan to implement things, but we have a whole team that that we have to talk to, right? So we've got a lot of really good senior leadership here. So they really do a really good job of just changing and making the decision. If it's going to help us move forward, then we do it, right? And if not, we don't do it, right? It's making those calculated decisions on whether we do something or not. So
Yeah, the being being flexible enough to identify that there's opportunities while also being cautious and thoughtful in the way that you vet those opportunities is such a difficult balance to strike, and it's good that you have such a solid team behind you to help kind of steer the ship, as it were. In that
they say,
in that regard, I'm curious, just kind of as we're closing things up here, what is coming down the pipeline? What is in the future for you guys that you're excited for or looking forward to?
yeah. So for us, we've got some new partnerships that we're going to be talking about here upcoming. We have a new device that we're releasing, so our next generation of technology is coming. We have a new platform, new apps, right? So I'm a big tech nerd, right? So I love this stuff. It's if I can show you a better way to get what you want out of your data that you're already paying for,
Hmm.
right? That's where we really do well, is taking a different approach to data. So we really want to just kind of show people what's possible with Link Labs and where we're going, and how I can tell you exactly where a little Bluetooth device is, right? Where this little thing in its delivery cycle, right? Or it's super, super small, super tiny. But with something like this, I can give you the data that you want, right? So, and it's for less than $1 or $2, right? So pretty sweet stuff. So at scale, we can do anything, but yeah, I mean we've got a lot of things that we're changing. So just trying to do some things that are different in the space and differentiate ourselves. But that indoor to outdoor capability is something that we thrive in. So giving you the ability to use this inside, and then when it leaves your building, I have another device that can connect to it and give you a mesh network of connectivity. So think about putting an internet router around all your stuff, and you connecting a little device to understand where it is, or like your Apple AirTags, right? So we're the commercial version of the Apple AirTags. So that was probably the best marketing piece we've done to date.
Yeah.
Is we said Apple AirTags versus AirFinder, and now anytime somebody sees Apple AirTags, they see Link Labs right next to it, because we're the commercial version of that. And we've seen so many leads for tool tracking, for equipment. You think about the Apple. I mean, I got an Apple AirTag on everything today, right? And I just got a notification that all my devices are dying. So, now it's time to change it and replace it. So,
Wow.
but yeah, so different things like that. So
Smaller, smarter, faster.
yeah.
Now I'm a Daft Punk song.
That's funny.
Carlos, you've been very generous with your time and wisdom. There's just so much there that you've shared in this episode. Thank you so much for that. I'd love to leave us on a high note here. If there was one piece of advice that you could offer somebody in a similar position to you, what would that be?
Um, so for me, I would have to say just never stop learning, never stop talking to customers. People are people. My best business relationships that I built, we've had over like a beer at 8 o'clock at night, right? Just over dinner or cocktail. I know we're very connected today, right? I'm home here in Chicago here, and I don't know where you are today. But there's nothing like having a face-to-face chat, face-to-face conversation. If you go to networking events with your company, do not swing and miss, right? You have to utilize it. Your clients are there. Like, just be present. I'm a big advocate on networking and making sure that everybody that I meet or talk to knows what I do and who I work with, and it's led me to some pretty cool opportunities in my life. So networking early and often was the best advice that I received. Now I wish I would have started earlier, right? So in my life, right? But we are where we are. But it's been great. So for me, that's been my biggest, not even my biggest, it's been my best attribute that I bring to the table is my network. So
Yeah, it's a really a true testament to, and as much as people despise the cliche, it's not what you
Yeah,
know, it's who you know. And I mean, I get that there's some
exactly.
degree of knowledge that you need to be able to play ball, but
Yeah,
once you get there, getting yourself out there and connecting with people, that's such a powerful message, Carlos. I love that that's where your head went. If somebody wanted, on that note, if somebody wanted to reach out with
yeah,
you, maybe pick your brain further or work with you, how would
yeah.
one go about doing that?
Yeah, you can reach me on LinkedIn. My LinkedIn is, I'm an open networker. So yeah, if you have questions or want to connect or any opportunities to partner together, just let me know. Yeah, feel free to reach out.
Awesome. We'll link to that in the show notes. And if you want to get in touch with me or my team, it's nextgengrowth.com. Otherwise, that's it for this episode.